Hey, what's going on, everyone? I got one IEM for review and then a bonus item, which I'm going to cover quickly. Here we have the Rose Technic Ceramics. This is a wireless earbud. I'm just going to quickly review this. Comes in a nice pouch, good fit. But I will say the sound quality on this is pretty average to below average. It sounds like a typical Bluetooth earbud. There's a lot of compression in the mids and the treble. The bass is decent. So yeah, it doesn't sound better than the Soundcore. The Soundcore just sounds cleaner. Um, the voices sound more natural. There's not any treble brittleness on the Soundcores. These sound pretty compressed in the treble. It doesn't really extend that well, and the voices don't really have a body. So that's how this sounds. Just your average set of Bluetooth earbuds. So yeah, that's that. With that out of the way, let's cover a gaming IEM. This is the EPZ G10. Has a nice carbon fiber look. So this is specifically tuned for gaming. So if you play first-person shooter games or you want to hear footsteps well, this did an excellent job. Somehow, I'm not sure, but I think it's the tuning. But every time, so I tried this playing Warzone and some other games. So this IEM, it really emphasizes the footsteps. I could hear the footsteps very, very clearly. I think it's like boosting the sound of footsteps somehow. And the graph shows it's like Harman tune here, but and then a peak in the treble. So it does have a peak somewhere in the treble, which emphasizes footsteps, I guess. And then it shows some sub bass, but I think it sounds less than the graph suggests. So yeah, what's interesting is like I have way more expensive IEMs, but they don't do that good of a job for gaming. For example, I have the Helios, and that has amazing treble. But the Helios for gaming, it sounds too laid back. Like, it's not really up front with the sounds and the footsteps. It just sounds in the background. So the Helios is not a good IEM for gaming. But for music, it sounds amazing. And then the same thing with the 7th Acoustic Supernova. It just sounds amazing for music, but for gaming, it just sounds kind of like too congested. I'm not sure how that works or what causes that, but I will say this is probably the best IEM I've used for gaming personally. I could just hear the footsteps very, very well, and the spatial cues and positioning are very, very precise and pinpoint. But if you're listening to music, it doesn't sound the best for music. And it doesn't sound the best because it's missing a bit of sub bass for music. And then the mids are like not too forward or full body. They sound slightly thin. And then the treble is smooth for the most part. So what's interesting is when you're listening to music, it's going to sound like it lacks sub bass. But when I was playing Warzone, I could hear the sub bass pretty clearly. Like it had a slight bit of a thump, like the right amount. So I guess these are actually a solid pick for gaming. And I do try a lot of the IEMs I have for gaming to compare how they work. Because I think for gaming, you need like a specific tuning, which highlights the footsteps and it's not too bassy. Just has a little bit of bass, so you get the full sense of immersion. And I think this is actually pretty good for gaming. I would recommend it. It's just solid. Everything just sounds where it should be. So if there's a footsteps You hear it clearly right here, right here, right here. And sometimes I use these earpods for gaming, but they're okay. They sound a little too laid back. But this is perfect for gaming only, though. But if you're listening to music, they don't sound that good for music. So I think the way they tuned it is to like highlight footsteps and not be too bassy or boomy so you could hear everything else clearly. And then the treble is pretty smooth so it doesn't mask anything or sound harsh or sharp. So overall, I think they did a pretty good job. It just has enhanced footstep sounds, and when you're playing, just sounds like it should. So if you're a bad player at the game, this isn't going to make you better, but if you want to hear spatial cues and footsteps, this highlights it perfectly. So this is a solid gaming earbud, I guess. It's just amazing, and I have been using it. So I'm actually surprised at how good this is because I try most of the IEMs that I have for gaming and just didn't cut it, whether it was $1,000 pair or 500. The expensive IEMs sound amazing for music, but for gaming they could just sound too congested or laid back, or maybe even sometimes too smooth. But this doesn't have any of those issues. So I'm going to give this like a solid 4 out of 5. That's an 8 out of 10. And do I recommend it? I do recommend it if you're using it specifically for gaming. But if you want it for music, try something like the Tangzu Waner or some of those cheaper pairs. It's going to sound better for music. But if you like playing games and you want to hear footsteps clearly, spatial cues, smooth treble, and just the right amount of bass, then these are it for you. So yeah, I would give these like a solid like 8 out of 10. They actually did a good job making it specifically for gaming. I do like that, and I haven't heard a set that sounds like this for gaming specifically. And then the ceramics, I'd give like a 3 out of 10. Or not a 3 out of 10. I'm sorry, like a 6 out of 10, which is like average to below average. So I wouldn't really recommend these. They just don't sound good enough, and there's better options. But these are amazing. I'm going to actually use these today while I game. Do a little more testing. I think it does have a mic in here too. And then these are all functional. You can increase the volume, pause. Pretty simple. So yeah, just a quick review on these. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.